welcoming you back to the desk of Caddicarus. Join us as we partake into a new instalment of Current Quickies.
Hello, my duckies, and this time we'll be having a look at Dear Esther on PS4. Q. This game is... I have no fucking clue. I was really interested to play this game because I love games of this kind of style, and I heard from loads of people that it was amazing, and loads of other people that it was a big pile of wank. So what did I think about it? Well...
Yes, I don't really know where to start here. Dear Esther was a game released in 2012 on PC, which recently got a release on PS4 under the Landmark Edition, whatever the fuck that means. And since I love games of this particular exploration and dare say walking simulator style, like Gone Home, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, Ether 1, The Stanley Parable, and even Firewatch to an extent, I was really excited to finally play this, but after an entire hour of playtime and a relatively heavy price tag for the privilege of only an hour, does the game do anything massively interesting whatsoever from gameplay or story to justify it? In my humble opinion, not at all. If you like the game, fantastic, but from what I've read from articles and reviews online, I personally think this is one of the most media hyped yet disappointing things I've ever played. And yes, I'm calling it a thing because I failed to see why this was a game in the first place. To talk about the stuff I really liked, well, Jesus, Mother, and Holy Shrimp Boat Christ, this is an utterly luscious and breathtaking game on visuals alone. Every aspect of the presentation, including the sweeping and emotional score, often left me in awe of what the devs accomplished. For an indie game, it really is that damn pretty, and YouTube compression doesn't really do it justice even at 1080p 60 FPS. The story itself, from what I can make out of it at least, I found very touching and very moving, with plenty of initial mystery to keep me invested in. The way the story and all its different moods are taken through not only the tight and poetic writer, but also expressed visually as well is, in my opinion, pretty damn awesome. But here's where everything else drops dead as far as I'm concerned. You see, video games, art project or not, are an interactive medium. They always have and always will be. You can experiment and break conventions and boundaries for sure, but I think the cornerstone of any video game is the fact that the player has to directly do things with the game world, otherwise what's the point? And does this game push any conventions or boundaries with this interactive medium? Yes, actually it does, by not letting you do fucking anything. If this game is where the start of the term walking simulator came from, I'm honestly not surprised at all, because fuck, apart from all the times you can go I never felt contextually involved with the game at all. In order to move the game and its story along, you need to walk around the remnants of an island while a man reads letter excerpts to you, talking to a character called Esther. And to get each snippet of the letters read to you without actually seeing anything unfold around you, you need to walk to a particular place in the sometimes branching but mostly linear parts of the island. You don't interact with a single thing, no doors to open, nothing to pick up, you can't even turn your torch on by yourself. And not only does this make you feel like you're not moving the story along or discovering new things by yourself, but the story I don't personally think is worth the slow and painful minutes it takes to walk to the end of a branching path, only to have a well-written and well-acted eloquent sentence read to you for sometimes no reason at all to what you're looking at, and then turn around again. Once you can piece together a basic bare-bones plot, the rest of the details in the story, such as the mystery behind the past residents of the island, basically end up being filler, and I hear that the more you replay the game, the more different story excerpts you can hear, but I didn't give a single flying fuck about the past people of this island. Why should I? It would have been nicer to explore who I am, why I'm here, what this island itself is all about, and focus a lot more on the events leading up to the lackluster and sudden ending, instead of talking about all these other people from decades prior that don't affect my feelings towards the main characters or drive the story along. But no, instead you just get disjointed and random parts of a story thrown at you like a broken jigsaw. And yes, it certainly is very fun to piece everything together and figure out what every visual element and story passage means, but it ultimately doesn't make anything satisfying or complete. It's not like a deep, engaging, and ripe for expansion world like Rapture in Bioshock, in itself mostly discovered through your exploration and figuring out the history from audio diaries. Unlike Bioshock, it's not rewarding or interesting to piece it all together along with other gameplay elements. You just walk around and make a man talk. And I will avoid talking about spoilers in this video, but for one playthrough I got my own gist on what the story was doing and where it was going. So please tell me what would the reason be to replay and find out more. To the world itself, there's not much more for expansion without it just being superfluous, especially with the other characters being talked about that have interesting backstories, but ultimately no depth or much else to say about them other than what they did on the island. Even the parts of the game that creep me the fuck out with dark caverns and distorted intense music and that goddamn silhouetted figure that you can always see but never reach are ruined by everything else that the game, in my opinion, completely fails at. So much so that I can't recommend it highly at all. Is it the worst game I've ever played? Far from it. It does excel in a handful of areas, from visuals and even how moving the story actually is, but from the amount of awards and media praise this game got, I was honestly kind of shocked that this game does absolutely nothing original, nothing new, nothing interesting, and only really exists as a sightseeing tour with pretty visuals and a sweet little story. Which honestly, with the little interactivity here, could have been done with it being a first-person CGI movie or something. Not to mention loads of other games have done this kind of storytelling before, but with more meat and intrigue, like Ethan Carter, so I'm extremely disappointed overall.
So, I'm gonna give the PS4 version of Dear Esther a 3 out of 10. It has a lot of elements that really work, don't get me wrong. But do I recommend you get it? As a fan of these kinds of games, personally, no. Q.